So I got a Arctic Cat 1000. It is a 2009. I picked it up for a pretty good deal. I traveled like an hour away, and I picked it up for 1,600 bucks, I believe it was. She posted it for like 2,000, and I figured out that the 4x4 didn't kick in with the actuator. So there's the actuator down there, the big old metal block right there. Doesn't kick on when you hit the switch up here. This is the 4x4 switch. So I got her down a little bit on that. The control arm, the upper A arm was loose up here, which caused the wheel to have a lot of play in it when I was test driving it. So got a little down on that. You know, obviously the seat cover needs a new one. And got a slight leak on the valve cover on the front cylinder. You can kind of see it up there. It's super small, so it's just like seeping out. But it is a V-twin 1000. So that's the only issues that we found with it, was the 4x4 does not kick in. But it does run and drive in the two-wheel drive. The air filter in here. There's the airbox. I mean, it's a little dirty, but you know, we can get a new one later. So it just kind of fits in there like so. So this thing is EFI, so it does start right up. No carburetor. So it has a diff lock right here. Obviously the 4x4 actuator, or 4x4 switch here. Start button, kill switch, reverse override. So that's all in working condition, besides the 4x4 not engaging. So it does have clean oil. It's hard to get to, but it's deep down in there. Right there. So let me reach in there and grab that. Check the level. There's the oil. It's full, but it is kind of dark though. You could use an oil change, so we might get oil for that too. Let's see, I believe one headlight is not working, but you see the stickers are pretty faded. There's the battery. There's like a trickle charger connect here. But one thing that we have done already is we have took this thing for a test drive. That's how we knew the 4x4 wasn't working. But it had a gas leak at the filter here. We put a new Wix filter and we cut back the line because it was leaking out the line here and the filter was clogged up. So we got a new filter and cut back that line. This is just a vent for the fuel. So, you know, this thing is a pretty big quad. It sits pretty tall. These things in my area I've seen go for $6 grand, and we do have the title for it as well. So that's a plus. Tires are pretty new. The seller was saying they kept up with the tires whenever they went bald or cracked or dry rotted, so those are pretty nice. The all hole there, it's been sitting for a couple of weeks now and have not leaked. So I did check the coolant reservoir cap is under this cover. And there's the radiator, so that's topped off. It's got fresh green coolant. The oil is topped off as well. So I did order some parts already. We do have a seat cover. We do have the storage box. for it, and we actually got like a speaker to mount on either the front or the back. So this is actually my brother's quad. You know, we found a good deal out for him, and we went to go pick it up. So I'm kind of helping him out, fix this thing up, and have him a good running machine. So, you know, these 4x4 actuators, they actually go for about a couple $100 on eBay. You might have to find a interchangeable one, but look up parts number, and they should interchange. But yeah, as of right now, the 4x4 actuator is not working. But let me start it up for you guys and show y'all that it runs pretty good. Got the key, turn it on. See, cycles through, it's on. It's in neutral. It's got 1,734 miles. Let's see. I'm trying to see if it'll show the hours. 197 hours. So, not too bad. But, let's go ahead and crank it up. And it also flashes EFI whenever you have the on switch on. And you haven't cranked it up in a while, but it's still on. So it does crank right up. There's a little slow crank to it at first, but it eventually starts. Yeah, it starts really weird. I don't know if it's like a low voltage battery. These are sensitive to volts, or it's a starter, a weak starter, or if it's a bad solenoid. Not really sure. It's like sometimes it runs on one cylinder, sometimes it runs on two. Alright, so you've seen when I started it, it was kind of sporadic. You know, kind of sounded like it was running on one cylinder at sometimes and, you know, kicking into both. But what I did find out when I was checking the spark plug here, I cut back the boot wire. It wasn't really showing any, but there was still some, so I just cut it back to where it's fresh wire. But then again, that spark plug, it has that screw-on end on there. You know, it's like a skinny screw-on. And the inside of here has like a rounder inside. So it's not gonna really contact that spark plug very well. And it doesn't click in whenever I put it on. But on the front cylinder, you know, same style plug, or same style coil boot. This one has the round piece on this spark plug. So I think what I'm hoping is this spark plug is missing that little nipple on it to really contact the boot here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a new rear spark plug. I might as well get probably both, new rears and fronts, just to, you know, do a little tune up on it, and then we'll see how it runs after that. So I do have that EFI still flashed on the top here, because this thing is kind of misfiring. You know, you can kind of hear it. So let me get a new spark plug in it. We'll see what happens. All right, so I replaced the plugs with the CPR8E 7411. That's what they call for. No, these two had the nipples on both ends, and this one didn't. So it still does crank slow, but it runs a whole lot smoother. You can see it runs on both cylinders. You kind of heard it kind of like cut out on one cylinder and then went to the, and it went to one, then went back to two, one, two. This one stays on two, and it's way more responsive on the throttle. No smoke, no nothing. Nothing on the dash. They're bolting. But that's yeah, see when the lights are out. Yeah. Hell, I have to get work. Maybe not. Yeah, probably not. But cranks up super weird though. Check the volts here at the battery, see what it's testing at. So we're reading at 13. Yeah, that's solid. It's charging. Voltage regulator is not bad. So I'm thinking it could be the starter. I'm thinking it could be the starter that's bad on this thing. But we will see. My brother actually did a couple things while I was at work. So I couldn't videotape it. So as you can see, it has a brand new Arctic Cat seat cover. It's a really nice one too. That's more on the expensive side rather than like a, you know, stock, just a black one. But I feel like it really goes with the gray and the black kind of color scheme on this quad. But he also got the new Thundercat stickers on both sides. As you can see, he put in a new storage compartment that was missing. A little bit of water in there, but we'll get that dried up. I just power washed it because he actually just took it out riding last weekend for Labor Day. So he got a new speaker for the front. That all works. It plugs into the cigarette lighter right here. So that's really nice. It's got really good bass on it compared to the other speakers that we've seen. So he did that. He also got a new winch in the front. I forget how many pounds it was rated at, but we tried sticking it behind the bumper and it would not fit. So we got it mounted in the front, which still does the job. We got the solenoid up in there, tucked in there. What else did we do? Also did a new starter. As you've seen before, it was slow cranking when you first try to start it, and it'll slowly go, and then it'll kick in and start the engine. But we got a new starter, and it cranks over like normal now. So the last thing that we did, we put a brand new 4x4 actuator. You know, controls the 4x4 obviously, and also controls the diff lock. But we got a new one of them. It's kind of a pain to get to the bolts. You kind of got to move the front diff forward, and because there's a bolt right under the control arm mount down there. So that's a pain. But we did get that in there. And the 4x4 does work. You can hear it actuate when you hit the 4x4 switch. So that's all that was done to it while I was gone. Also, you got new LED bulbs for the front lights. Because I believe 2 were out, or at least 1 was out, and he wanted the LEDs to make it brighter. And I think he eventually wants to add like a light bar to it somewhere. But it's bright enough for now. We don't really go night riding, but occasionally we do stay out there a little late. But we've also got a new gasket for the belt cover there, because we took it through a river. It wasn't deep or anything. It was just about, you know, like the foot peg deep. I don't really like to sink my quads, that's not good for them, but it was causing the belt to slip. So we was thinking that it was the gasket for the belt cover, and we ended up taking the belt cover off, and the gasket seemed like it was good. You know, I didn't see no rips in it or anything, but you know, I was kind of thinking, looking at the ducts for the heat, and one thing that was missing on this lower end, you see this plug here, that was completely missing, and that's on the lower side of the duct there. So obviously it's gonna suck in air, or suck in water, and some water is gonna go into the clutch there and cause the belt to slip, because you know it would be good, and then when it hit the water and a little bit later it'll start slipping, it'll just rev out, you know, wouldn't be that much power. But we got a new one of them from Partzilla, as well as a new gasket, so that should be straight there. We shouldn't have any more issues with the belt slipping. So we have not gotten to ride it after we put the new parts on, but we should go riding this coming up weekend, and we're hoping that no water gets into the clutch there and starts slipping again. But let me just turn it on and show y'all that it starts up super quick. We did do the spark plugs, like I said. This is like a week later from when we did the spark plugs, but I'll show you that it does start up really nice. Did you hear that? That was a 4x4 switch, or 4x4. So, yeah, this is for the lock, and it locks in the diff. And then this is the 4x4 actuator. So let me hit that switch. Let's turn the quad on first. Starts up super nice. There you go. Sure, actuate. Before it was not actuating at all. It was just completely silent. Nothing would happen. So now the 4x4 works, and the front diff lock should work. We actually tested it out in the yard. You can see kind of the divots up there, and the front wheels were spinning. And we tested it again on 2-wheel drive, and front was not moving, and it was just, you know, peeling out in the dirt. But that does work now. You know, I did quite a bit without recording. I wish I did, but like I said, my brother kind of went without me. He was eager to get it all put together. So this is a done deal, other than doing like an oil change. But you know, coolant's topped off and everything else. Oil still looks pretty decent. Maybe one more ride on the oil change, and then, or on the oil, and then we'll change it. But looks super good. Starts up super easy, as you could tell. Let's try it again. Oh yeah. Check the lights out. Forgot on the Arctic Cats, you gotta hit the light switch. That's the low beam. High beam. So that's working. Alright, so that's it for this one. That seat cover before really makes a big difference. The one before was a whole lot ripped up, and it was no bueno. But this one's pretty much done. Like I said, I didn't really do a lot of recording on this, but I wish I did. But there's nothing I can do about it. My brother would do what he wants to do, and I can just get the aftermath. But This one is all done. Looks really good. Speaker system sounds really good too. It's actually really loud, especially when it's pointing towards the driver. So this one is done. So I paid $1,600 for it. Maybe put in about 300, 400, and $2,000 for this one, pretty much, more or less. And I see them go for like $4,000 to $6,000 up on Marketplace. So pretty good deal if you ask me. This is the Arctic Cat 1000. So I actually raced this with my side-by-side. I did buy a side-by-side, and I haven't shown y'all on the channel yet, but I bought a side-by-side. It's a 2015 Polaris RZR 1000. It's not the turbo version, but it is the 1000. So same CCs as this quad here, and we did race, and this guy pulled away from me. You know, it is a lot smaller than the RZR, so I was kind of thinking that it would, but this one also has good tires on it. So, and it did not have the 4x4 on it when we raced, so I could imagine it'll probably dig away from me from the get-go. So this is a really good foiler for him. He had one before. He had a Arctic Cat 500, and this is a totally different beast. It's got double the CCs. You know, this one's a V-twin engine, low miles and hours on it. So I'm pretty excited about this one. We have got trails to ride, and the weather's starting to, you know, the weather's starting to get cool down, and it's about to be riding season. Even though it is now, but it's just super hot. But we do plan on going to Little Sahara. It's a big sand dune place in Oklahoma. So we plan on taking this and my side-by-side. I did have to fix the side-by-side a couple of things, but I just haven't put it on the channel yet. But this one's all done.